So in this video, we look at a big friendly giant of a bull who has 3 blocks on his feet, and we take a look at this heifer who is in dire need of our attention. You're watching the Hoof GP.
And I won't let it rush when I see you dance, and the moment comes when I fall and time goes slow. I fall into you.
Today you're joining us as we drive through the stunningly beautiful southwest Scottish countryside, through the small villages of Braehead and Kirkinner, and along the winding twisting road that takes us through the stunningly beautiful Forest Mere. Right now in southwest Scotland, the leaves on the trees are beginning to fall and turn beautiful shades of oranges and browns and dark greens. Once we work our way through this ancient forest, we head towards the southwest coast and towards the cold waters of the Irish Sea. It's not a bad place to work.
So we are back at Mark's farm today on our proper visit. The last time we were here, how noisy are they? The last time we were here to look at this heifer's front right foot because she was in incredible pain, but actually Mark had just about fixed her by the time we got here. And I'm hoping that she's back in today to see how her foot's doing now.
This farm has a little quirk to it. Where we set up is slightly further away than any other farm, so instead of pushing the crush all the way up the side of the shed, we use the quad bike instead, which sometimes goes well and sometimes creates a little drama.
That was a fail, Callum. A fail.
No.
That was also a fail, Callum.
It's a big fail.
Okay, I'll just do it. See that? You see that, Callum? Yeah? Right, and now that we're lovely and beautifully in position, we'll crack on. Bit of a double sole here. I wasn't expecting that. Don't think she was lame. I didn't think she was lame anyway. Oh, it's coming away nicely actually. Not going to be an issue. Good to pick up these things early though, isn't it? Just widen that model. Somebody was telling me the other day that you don't need to do a wider model on the lateral, which is the outside claw. But I can tell you now, you definitely need to. You see, the outer claw, the lateral one, is the claw that receives the most damage because of the way a cow walks and stands and goes about her daily business. So we need to do a really wide model to accommodate the pedal bone, which is above, sinking down and punishing the corium. By dishing this bit out, it allows the whole of the inner portion of the foot to dip down into this space that we've created. If I pick up my welly, you can see effectively this arch is what we're creating. The arch in your welly boot or your shoe or your high heel, not your high heel, but anything like a welly is there to accommodate the arch in your foot, which is kind of the same thing.
Sometimes I can take the long road to tell you the short story. What I was trying to say is basically we need to accommodate within the hoof capsule for movement of the pedal bone. And that is exactly why we do a wide model on this outer claw.
So we do a wide model on this foot because of this bruising here. You'll find bruising 10 times more than you will on this outer claw, than you will on this inner claw. We only really do the inner claw to help slurry disperse, because you want as little slurry in contact with the feet as you possibly can. Hoof trimming knowledge and research is constantly advancing, and that's partly why I absolutely love what I do. I've got ADHD, and in a way, it can be a bit of a superpower. You see, it gives you focus, but it can also be a downfall, obviously. Stop. Because it literally stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. So in other words, my attention can lapse. If I get bored of something or feel like I've kind of run out of a learning experience, then I'm no longer interested. With hoof trimming, because research is always constant and knowledge is advancing, I never get bored. Don't get me wrong, there are definite drawbacks to having ADHD, like for instance, I'm the messiest person in the world, but at the same time, I hate mess. Little problem here. I'll just make sure it doesn't turn into, I don't think it's anything major. I've been wrong before though. I also absolutely love having loads of people around, especially kids and stuff like nieces and nephews, but at the same time, really struggle to cope when there's loads of people around. So there are a few inconsistencies which makes living with me probably hard. Does it?
Extremely hard.
Anyway, ignoring that little comment, just how good do these feet look? This is typical of the type of feet that we see on Mark's farm on the days that we're scheduled to be here. We come every 4 weeks, and most of what we do is routine work. Just rebalancing, reshaping, and remodeling out these feet.
I have the best memory in the world for random details, like the longest fence in the world is the dingo fence that goes across Australia. It's over 9,000 kilometres long. But struggle to remember if I had breakfast or not. I don't think I did. Beautiful. Beautiful now. I thought that was a case of beer. I genuinely did. I was like, oh, here we go. So this big guy has come in, and he was in just about a month ago with 3 problems. So he's back in today, and it'll be good to see how his feet are healing up. Oh, he's quite a canny big fella. Canny means nice and calm.
And here's what those problems were.
Front right, white line 2, and then side claw and a block. Back right had an existing block but no problem. Back left, we put a block on and it had a white line 2 on the outside claw.
That's not good. I think we'll do his back feet first. By the way, look at Hoof Grip Pro, our glue, keeping those on. So Hoof Grip Pro, by the way, if you're anywhere in Europe, head to kvk.com, or the link is at the bottom of the screen right now. Head to kvk. They are easily the quickest and best, biggest supplier of it in Europe right now. You can't get it from other places, so if you use someone else, then have a try there. But if you can't get it, go to kvk.de or .com or .dm or .dk. I think it's .dk, but go to kvk and they'll send it out to you wherever you are in Europe. Sales are going through the roof, so people are obviously really enjoying the results they're getting from it. Right.
I clearly need to reduce the overall size of this outer or lateral claw once he stops moving, to ensure that all of the detached hoof horn is completely removed. Reducing its size also helps to make full use of that block, meaning that only the block will be in contact with the ground, and that this hoof can heal much more easily.
Snip this. Oh, it's still open. I can see it is. Just carefully trim away this excess hoof horn. That flap, just getting rid of it will do the world of good, because obviously all the muck's just getting trapped in behind it and not being kind to us. In fact, this is starting to heal up better than I thought it was. So this is where the problem's been before. Was it a white line 2? It was a white line 2 before, Kev's telling me, which is why our computer system is fantastic. It lets us know the progress of any problem, because although obviously on camera it's easy for me to tell you what's wrong, it's very difficult, as I explained earlier, for me to remember all of the problems on all of the cows that we see, or bulls in this case. Give this a little wash off. Yeah, so you can see a little tiny bit of the corium still poking through there, but clearly it's looking pretty good. You can tell how bad it's been because of how yellow the hoof horn is. So there's a serum in the blood, and that serum seeps into the hoof horn production as any of that red stuff comes out, and that's why you get this yellowness, this yellow staining of the hoof horn. So you know that this has been really, really open if you ever see yellowness like that. Just get rid of the rest of these little bits of hoof horn that are looking untidy and could lead to further cracking. Like that one is a prime candidate for tracking further up into the foot, and so is this one. It's got that block on and it's still a good height, so we don't need to alter the block, we don't need to add another one or anything like that. It's doing well. Lovely. I am slightly concerned that it could be attacked by dermatitis, so we will give it a little spray of Revolves. It's not going to do any harm anyway, is it? So we might as well be safe rather than sorry. Right, oh, foot number 2. Again, block is still lovely and high. So obviously this foot doesn't look like there's much wrong with it, but he's been walking on this block, so he's not been wearing the outer claw down, which is why I'm using the grinder to reduce the overall size of this. And while I've got it in my hand, I also remove the top layer of hoof horn from where the problem has been, and it is looking like it's healed up completely. So we just model out his foot like that, and that's us pretty much done with this foot. We'll just give it a bit of a wider model and a bit deeper using the knife, and that's that foot done. Right, I do know his front right foot has got a block on it as well though. Look how well he's standing on this block. Look at that, standing beautifully on it. So he's had a problem on that inside claw. The inside claw isn't even touching the ground. That is exactly what we want to see. You can clearly see where the problem's been. So again, he's walking on that block and has been doing since the last time we trimmed him, which was just over a month or so ago, meaning his foot has actually grown around 7 millimeters, which again is why I'm reducing the entire size of that inner claw using the grinder. I also removed the little cracking pieces of hoof horn from around his white line, just in case they cause a problem. Right, this problem. You can see again that this is well on its way to recovery, but definitely not fully healed. You can see that brown gunge. Oh, there's actually a bit of a hole up here. Wasn't expecting that. These problems tend to continue to track up the side, which is why getting the top of the problem completely out is so important. If you work in the steel industry, you'll understand that when you have a piece of sheet metal and you have a crack in it or anything like that, then you drill a hole at the top of that crack, you round it out, and that stops it from cracking any further. And it's kind of the same with these. It's actually trimmed out quite nicely though. I don't think I could get any better. I've done pretty much everything we can do for this foot. Now it's up to the bull, with the aid of that block obviously, to heal it on his own. Right, I've done 3 feet, Kev can do the last one.
Although Kev gets to do the hoof that doesn't have any problems, it doesn't mean it's an easy task. If you over trim a bull's foot like this, he will be in real trouble, and it will be all your fault. So you need the confidence and you need to be sure of your skill set in order to complete a trim like this. And believe it or not, the most important part of this trim is that you're confident enough to leave hoof horn behind, even if it doesn't look fantastic, because often that's the best thing for the bull.
Right, yeah, you can drop his back feet, Craig. He's looking pretty good, definitely not healed, but well on his way to recovery. It's fantastic when you pick up a bull sheet, especially that you put 3 blocks on and they're all still in place doing their job. Bulls are notoriously hard to keep blocks in place because they're so heavy. Just imagine every time they turn, they've got a ton or so weight twisting around, trying to break that glue off. Right, we're going to crack on now and get the rest of these done, because there is one heifer in serious need of our attention.
Like stone, emotionless.
us in this world of stories, oh, like stone. I'll be here forever, waiting for your call.
Okay, we've just got Pippi Longstockings here to sort out now. Now, disclaimer, this cow isn't from this farm. This farm buys in cattle from all over the place, and she has arrived with rather long feet.
She's only little as well.
You're right. When a cow has long feet like this, or a heifer in this case, it's usually because there's something wrong with her toe. I'm hoping that's not the case, and I'm hoping it's just a trim up. But I suspect there's something wrong with her toe.
That's really not a good look.
So her flexor tendon runs from her heel up the back of her leg, over her knee, and up to her buttocks up there. And it's probably been stretched because of the angle of her foot. Unfortunately, if we don't correct it, that deep flexor tendon, like her hamstring if you like, will never actually contract again. It's a priority. This cow has just landed on this farm right now, actually. They've literally just brought it here for us to trim. So hopefully we can do something about this. I think she's going to have toe necrosis though.
What a mess that is. You can actually see right now, if we zoom right in, where the problem is, right up in here.
This is going to be anything but simple. Look at this. If we look from the side, it looks miles worse. So the order of the day here is little by little, piece by piece, and we're gonna just constantly reanalyze the foot. Like I said, that inner claw is the problem though, but the outer claw, because she's not walking on it properly, is severely overgrown. Look at that. So we are going to use a TP block in this case because this is going to be a long-term problem, and these blocks don't actually wear down at all, so it'll be ideal for this situation. It's nice and big and thick, but my foot's quite small, so we'll probably end up trimming it back a bit actually. With these, you need to burn the block as well. It's not going to fit very well, but I'm going to trim it back anyway. Right, I'm going to trim this back now. I'm not expecting this to look good by any stretch of the imagination. Oh. I'm expecting this just to get messier and messier and messier, by the way. Okay, so we saw that this travels all the way up the front of her foot, which is obviously now the underside of her foot as we look at it. Look at that, there you go, look. Oh, you can see all the darkness coming through. That darkness obviously meaning there are more layers to this. We're going to be fairly relentless in the effort to get rid of detached hoof on here, because if you're not, they simply don't heal. This is going to look fairly dramatic. It's really difficult to trim that area effectively anyway. Trim back this is called the dorsal wall. You don't hear me say that word very often. The frontal wall basically. I'm gonna trim this back as much as we can. You can see actually she's had either an injury or something, a growth or something up here, and that is what's happened. So this is where the hoof horn grows from. This is called the coronet, or the hairline. It goes right the way around here. And the wall horn actually grows from up here. So any problem up here just travels down the foot and creates this tremendous mess. We need, look, you can see all these little cavities in there. It's actually looking pretty good. We're doing fairly well, but there's still more to come away from around here.
I think it's plain for us all to see that trims like this take a great deal of time and effort. You need to trim them very slowly indeed if you want to make sure that you don't make any mistakes. I'm genuinely really happy with how this has turned out. We've restored the angle back to her foot, and now we're just trimming this block back a little bit so that hopefully she walks in it nice and evenly. And while I've got the grinder in my hand, I might as well reduce the inner claw just that little bit more.
So we are going to wrap it, but I'm just going to put it down on the ground because I want to see how it looks now. It's a dramatic difference. If we take a look at how this looks right now, and in particular pay attention to this angle here, the angle of her pastern, which is this bit here, her ankle and the foot heel, and now compare it to how it was before, the difference is absolutely incredible. It's literally life-changing for this cow. But we do need to wrap it to try and kill any of the necrosis that's in there. That doesn't make sense. Necrosis is already dead. To try and kill any of the bacteria that is causing the necrosis. So as Kev is so expertly wrapping up this cow's foot, I'm looking at the back of the heel and the overhang that block has created. I'm thinking that you might be wondering about it. So I've deliberately left it like this because she was flopping back on her foot and walking on her heels. A lot of the time that means that they are more apt to keep walking that way. So we need to use an extended block over the back of her heel to force her foot into the correct position so that it relearns, and hopefully that deep flexor tendon doesn't receive any more damage. Right, let's get on some concrete and see how she's walking now. It's like genuinely.
I thought she maybe still walk back in it a bit.
So, well, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure either, to be honest. I'm going to put her on some concrete so we can see how much of a difference we've made. If this isn't a satisfying job, then I do not know what is. Because for me, that is as satisfying as it gets.